Shocking facts you didn't know about the Somali pirates. Pirates have turned East Africa's oceans into the world's most perilous waters throughout the 15 years since armed Somali fishermen began forcing their way onto commercial ships. In 2008 alone, Somalia's lawless seamen hijacked more than 40 major vessels in the Gulf of Aden, a vital trade route between Asia and Europe. Somalia has the longest coastline in Africa, but Somalis have never exploited the potential of their seas for various reasons. Those that ventured out to sea were outmanned by illegal foreign fishing trawlers who reduced the fish stock in these territorial waters and contaminated them by dumping radioactive and hazardous wastes. Hardship compelled Somalis to experiment with other ways of making money, and former fishermen teamed together with militia and unemployed youngsters to seize ships and demand ransom. This was the start of piracy in Somalia. Hello explorers, welcome to another exciting video as we take a look at some facts about the world's most fearful waters being terrorized by Somali pirates. But before we dive into this, if you're new to our channel, ensure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any of our videos. Initial reasons why people became pirates in Somalia. Somali pirates weren't always pirates. Following the overthrow of the Somali government in 1991, international fishing trawlers freely breached Somali waters to fish. Poorer Somali fishermen who used smaller boats and nets saw their catches fall, and trawlers occasionally fired shot at them when they drew too close. Other foreign ships were dumping radioactive waste into Somali waters at the same time, and the waste frequently leaked into coastal villages, causing health issues. To protect Somali waterways, fishermen organized groups such as the National Volunteer Coast Guard of Somalia and Somali Marines. Most Somali pirate groups still use these group names to date. The foreign ships that breached Somali waters were frequently seized by Somali fishermen in exchange for ransoms, and for the fact that they were operating illegally, ship owners gladly paid the ransoms. They continued to pay even as the fishermen's rates went up. Somali pirates have a stock exchange market. It's not always easy for pirates to find a ship to hijack. Even if they did find one, they are unsure if they will be able to board it successfully. So most pirates have turned to the Somali public for funding, since it would be too expensive to support a series of unsuccessful raids. Investors who purchase shares on the pirate stock market fund pirates nowadays. Over 72 pirate groups are called maritime corporations, and they are listed on the stock exchange, which is professionally organized and interested parties purchasing stock in the company in the hopes that it will succeed. Stocks don't have to be bought with cash but with items such as AK-47s and rocket-propelled grenades, which are used as alternative form of currency. How they hijack ships. Before setting sail, pirates take investors to fund their travels, as this is common in the pirate stock exchange. They then split into two groups of 12 pirates each. The first group sets off on two boats in search of ships to hijack. When they find one, they creep up behind it in the dark before opening fire and attempting to board. The pirate who is the first to board the hijacked ship receives a bonus, and the ship is then escorted to Somalia's coast. After the first group departs in search for more prey when the ship docks, the second group assumes command and will keep an eye on the ship till the negotiations are finished. It costs money to keep the docked ship running as the crew requires food. This is where another investor enters the picture, and in exchange for a cut of the ransom, he covers the cost of looking after the crew. Then afterwards, the investor receives his investment with interest once the ransom is paid. For safeguarding the vessel, the second group receives about $15,000 per person. The pirate's major investor earns about 30% of the earnings, and the community receives a percentage for anchoring rights, while the other investors receive their shares. The rest is split among the pirates that hijacked the ship. Attempts to hijack warships. Pirates armed with AK-47s are well aware that they are no match for the heavily armed military warships patrolling the Somali coast of piracy, but it hasn't prevented them from attempting to take over these battleships. After mistaking warships for cargo ships in each occasion, the pirates attempted the attacks. Pirates approach a ship under cover of night in order to hijack it, and then they start firing at the ship and attempt to board as soon as they get near enough. When the warship returns fire with a much heavier weapon, they rapidly realize they have made a terrible mistake and usually turn around and run. But running away is not always that simple. In April 2010, Somali pirates mistook the USS Ashland for a cargo ship and fired on it, forcing the USS Ashland to counterattack, killing one of the pirates and arresting the others. The men denied being pirates and claimed to be smugglers transporting people to Yemen when their boat broke down, leaving them stranded for 7 days, and that they had simply fired at the ship to attract the attention of the crew. How negotiations work. After boarding a ship, pirates go through the documents on board to find who the owners are. The information is handed on to a negotiator who could be on the ship or on the other side of the country. The negotiator, who is generally a close relative to the pirates, contacts the shipping firm and informs them of the issue. The pirate negotiators are usually under a lot of pressure because they have to make sure the pirates get a good ransom and the ship owners don't give up. Pirate and the smallest. Despite earning millions of dollars in ransom payments, pirate foot soldiers who risk their lives by traveling on rowboats through hazardous seas in the hopes of shooting and boarding a ship receive between $30,000 and $75,000 of the ransom. Pirates who bring their firearms or ladder will win an additional $10,000 bonus. Investors who purchase stock on the stock exchange are the largest winners. When a ransom is paid, investors and other stakeholders get a piece of the pie. Some of the funds are also distributed to the community for the construction and maintenance of schools and hospitals, while the balance is shared by the pirates. Somali pirates avoid touching the wrong ships. Messing with the wrong guys in a lawless society like Somalia can rapidly lead to trouble. In Somalia, piracy came to a halt in 2012 when cargo ships began to use armed security. Somali pirates did not seize the ship until 2017, when they boarded an oil tanker and released it without obtaining any ransom. In Somalia, influential implies that the government will frequently defend your assets. Somali pirates often avoid seizing ships owned by powerful Somali business people, since negotiations always end in failure. The biggest beneficiaries of piracy. When it comes to piracy, there are a lot of beneficiaries, but the highest people to benefit from it are not even the ones doing or contributing to the piracy. Insurance firms are the ones who make the most money, earning 10 times as much as the pirates do in a year. Somali piracy is a $7 to $12 billion a year industry, while Somali pirates and investors receive less than 2% of that money. In 2010, pirates earned $148 million in ransom money, and ship owners spent $1.85 billion on insurance premiums to cover hijackings and another $1.4 billion on security equipment. In Somalia, pirates control the most powerful institutions in the country. They reinvest the ransom money obtained through kidnapping and piracy in order to plan their next action. They efficiently outmuscle the regional administration and provide a ray of hope to Somalia's unemployed youth by paying them generously for assisting them in piracy. Piracy in Somalia is predicted to increase in the upcoming years. That brings us to the end of our video, leaving us with the thought if piracy in Somalia actually helps the citizens to go through their struggling economy, or it's just another scheme to enrich a particular class of people in Somalia. Please drop your thoughts in the comment section below and ensure to subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.